Hello there, Barbara Ragsdale, independent maker with close to my heart. And if you purchased the Honey Bunny card making workshop kit, this is the video for the pattern paper. We're going to cut the pattern paper in this video. Now, in your kit, you should have had 3 sheets of the same paper. I just flipped this over so you could see the opposite side. So you should have 3 sheets of that. Make sure you have your trimmer. And as with all my videos, I will be pointing out the alphabet and the number for each piece that we're going to be cutting. So this kit has enough supplies to create 16 cards. There's 4 designs, so you're going to have 4 stacks of cutted pattern paper, as well as 4 stacks of cardstock. And so, and move that off to the side. I was trying to clear the rest of this as I was getting started. So get your paper trimmer, get 1 piece of your paper, and I'm going to show you what we're doing here. In your kit, you're going to have a printed copy of your assembly instructions. In this video, we are going to be going through pages number 2, 3, and the other half of 4. Pattern paper is this video. There'll be a separate video for your cardstock. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me show you. That might look a little overwhelming to some. That's okay. That's what these videos are for. I will try to go as slow as I can. So if you're cutting along with me, then well, I'll just try to go slow, okay? And sometimes I do have to stop and really pay attention to how I'm going to cut a piece, especially when it comes to diagrams like that. You know, they can get a little crazy sometimes, but that's what I'm here. So I might have to pull that a little closer to me. So grab a sheet of one of your pieces of pattern paper. Sorry, sometimes I say things wrong, but hopefully if you've been doing this long enough, you understand what I'm trying to say. The first piece that we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing this side. So flip it over to your Honey Bunny dotted side, and let's go ahead and cut off that zip strip. And for those of you that don't know what a zip strip is, it is the top 1/2 inch piece of this piece of pattern paper, and we'll be using that. So let's go ahead and cut that off. I'm going to trim it down at 1/2 inch. And then we're going to set that aside because we'll be cutting that here in a we'll do the zip strip last. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with our paper. Now, the first cut is go ahead and get that in your trimmer. And let me bring this down just a little bit, and let me try to get this out of the, why is it? There we go. I was like, that's crooked. There we go. Let me bring that down there a little bit. I'm trying to get that glare off from my lights. So the first cut that we're going to be doing, let me bring that a little bit closer, is going to be at 3 inches. So go ahead and cut it all the way down to 3 inches. And then turn your paper landscape and cut it at 6.5 inches. And of course, that means I'm going to have to extend my little arm there, which is okay. And hopefully you can still see where I'm going to cut there. 6.5 inches. Okay, this piece right here is 4B. 4B. So get that in your stack of 4s. This piece that's left, keep it in your trimmer the way it is and cut it at 5 1/4. 5 1/4. And that piece is 1A. 1A. So put that with your stack of 1s. This little piece right here, it's scrap. It's a totally usable piece of scrap. I'm sure we can find somewhere for that to go. Now we're going to do that. We're going to do it again. Actually, let's do this because all of these are the same cuts. Yeah, all of these are the same cuts. So let's do this. That piece of paper that you have left, go ahead and turn it to where the 12-inch side is at the top. So your longer sides at the top. And let's cut it at 11 3/4. So basically we're just going to shave off a 1/4 of an inch along the bottom. So now you have a longer piece. If I had cut it all the same, you would have a real long piece. So, but these are still 2 good usable pieces of scraps. Now turn your paper back to where the short sides along the top. No, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead. I'm trying to make as few cuts as I can. Go ahead and flip it back to where your long sides at the top. Okay. I'm trying, you'll see you'll see where I'm going here. I have some method of madness. Go ahead and cut it at 6.5. Now make sure your long piece is at the top, because I've moved this a couple of times. I want to make sure you're keeping up with me. Go ahead and cut it at 6.5. Go. And then turn your paper to where the long side is at the top, and cut 3 pieces at 3 inches. 3 pieces at 3 inches. And then this last piece should be 3, which it is. All these pieces go to 4B. 4B. So put that with your stack of 4s. Now that piece that we had cut and just took out of our trimmer, let's put it back in our trimmer. And let's turn it to where the long sides at the top. And let's cut 3 pieces at 3 inches. If I had looked at this diagram a little closer at the beginning, I would have done this all the same time. Now these 3 pieces are all 1A. So now 1A and 4B have all their pieces, and then you've got your 2 little pieces of scraps. Okay, now let's grab another sheet, and let's go ahead and take off our zip strip as well on that one. And set that off to the side. Now on this paper, we're going to be flipping it to where we are cutting the butterfly side. And I will tell you if we need to flip it back over and cut the dotted side. But for this one, we're going to be cutting the butterfly side. Let's get our paper in our trimmer. And the first cut we have is at 3.5 inches all the way down. This one I might have to look at a couple of times. It's kind of a little confusing looking at it just right now. Now flip your paper sideways to where your 12-inch side is going along the top, and cut it at 3 inches. Bring that down a little bit. At 3 inches 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All of these pieces, this 3.5 by 3 inch pieces, these are 4A. 4A. So put that with your stack of 4s, and get your paper back in your trimmer. And we're going to cut it at 1 inch all the way down. 1 inch all the way down. And then turn your paper where your long sides up at the top, and we're going to cut 4 of them at 1 1/4. So cut 4 pieces at 1 1/4. 1, 2. Oop, that moved on me. 3, 4. Okay, so these 4 pieces that are 1 by 1 1/4 go to 3E. 3E. So get you a stack of 3 started right in front of me. And then the next one is going to be at, keep your paper in your trimmer the way it came out, 3/4 of an inch. We're going to cut 4. Actually, we're cutting 8 of them, but 4 of them go to, anyway, let's cut 8 of them at 3/4 of an inch. Okay. So 8 of these at 3/4 of an inch. They're both going to the same card, but they do have different parts of the card where they're going to. Okay, 3, 4. Okay, so these first 4 that we cut that are 1 inch by 3/4 of an inch, these go to 3C. So 3C, and cut 4 more at 3/4 of an inch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry about slamming that down. So the second set of 4, the second set of 1 by 3 1/4 that we cut, go to 3G. 3G. So it's still your card number 3. It's just a different part. And this little bitty piece that came out, which is totally usable, is scrap. All right. The next cut is going to be at 2 inches. So get your paper back in your trimmer where the short sides along the top and cut it at 2 inches. Turn your paper landscape where the long sides along the top and cut 2 pieces at 5.5 inches. So 1, 2, and those 2 pieces that are 2 by 5.5 go to 2B. So now we got some going in our 2s, and that little bitty piece that's left over is scrap. Let's get our paper back in our trimmer where the short sides along the top, and we're going to do that again. So cut it at 2 inches. Turn your paper long side along the top and cut 2 of them at 5.5 inches. 2 at 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to tell you something after I'm done with this. Okay, so these 2 pieces that are 2 by 5.5 inches, and the ones that we just put down that are the first 2 sets that we cut, we're actually, when we go to assemble our cards, we're going to be using the honey butter dotted side. Okay, so I'm going to flip those over to the right side, and this little piece that's left is scrap. Now get our paper back in our trimmer and cut it at 1 inches all the way down. 1 inches all the way down. And we're going to cut 8 of these at 1 inch. 8 of them at 1 inch. And then I will tell you which ones go where. So let's go ahead and cut 4 of them at 1 inch, and then we'll cut the second set after this. Let's get that line go up. One more. Okay, so this first 4 that is 1 by 1, these are 3D, 3D, 3D. Put those with our 3s. Now let's cut another second set of at 1 inch. We're going to cut 4 of them. 2, 3, 4. The second set that are 1 by 1 also go to 3, and these are 3F. 3F. And this piece that that's in your trimmer is scrap. Scrap. All right. Let's get our paper back in our trimmer, and this should be 2.5 inches wide, which it is. Let me double check and make sure. I think it's the flip side. So let me make sure. Yeah, it's the flip side. So let's flip it over to the dotted side, and then let's turn our paper where it is the long side along the top, and we are going to cut, it's already 2.5 inches wide. We're going to cut 4 pieces at 2 3/4. 4 pieces at 2 3/4. Now these pieces that we're cutting, these are going to be for some die cutting, and it's going to be for the I probably should take them out so I don't forget, but these are going to be for cutting the wings. Okay. Let me show you. Let me get the wings out. If I can get them out. It's going to be for cutting the large, and it's going to be for cutting the small ones, because there's 2 sets. It's not that one. It is going to be that one for P1. P1. I'm just double checking, you guys. The images look just a little bit confusing to me as far as the sizes, but basically, we're going to take a look at this back when we go to do the, I'll have to double check. I know it's definitely the large one. All 4 of these pieces, you're going to be die cutting the wings. 4 of them go. So the large ones are going to be for project 4. So that'll be with your stack of 4s. And the other one is going to be for P1. And I believe it is based on the size. It is, it looks like it's that one. Yeah, it's that size. And that one says for P1. Although when I look at project 1, I don't see, honestly, I don't see. Let me look at P1 a little bit closer. Sorry about this, you guys. I'm just really trying to make sure. I'm not seeing, y'all, honestly, I'm not seeing where those little bitty, the smaller ones go. The instructions say P1, which is project 1, card number 1. But as I look at the project 1 picture, I'm not seeing any dotted wings on that one. And let me show you what I'm talking about, so you don't think I'm like, oh, she's crazy. Like, if you look at the picture, I don't see the wings, smaller wings that are dotted. The only dotted I see on project 1 is the honey butter. Okay, so, and even on the other projects, I don't see dotted wings on any of the other projects as well. So that's a little confusing to me, which, you know, humans do put together these. See, that's for project 2. Those are the wings, the larger wings, but even the smaller wings, everything else looks like it's cardstock. So I'm going to make an executive decision right now. And if you're following me with this video, just use this paper to die cut the wings, the larger wings. Now you also have space to do 2 on each page, on two on each cut. So you'll only need 2 cuts if you do it that way. And these other 2 will eventually be scraps, but I'm going to put all of these together. I will know that when I go to die cut those, and I'm going to put that with my little die cutting piece over there. Now this piece that came out of your paper, your trimmer, is scrap. It is scrap. So get that in your scraps, and that is that's it for that one. Now let's get our last piece. We do have one more piece, and it's going to be super easy. So go ahead and flip it over and take off your zip strip. And after this, we'll cut our zip strips. And then we'll be done. So let's flip it to, we're going to be cutting the butterfly side on this one. So let's get our first cut at 4.5. Yeah, 4.25. Sorry, 4.25. I was thinking about cutting it a little bit differently, but I'm just going to keep going with how I normally cut. Now turn your paper long ways and cut 2 pieces at 5.5. 2 pieces at 5.5. Now I can tell you what I think with this piece of paper. If it's 4.25 by 5.5, that tells me it's going to cover the entire front of the card, right? Can you figure that out? Now these 2 pieces that are 4.25 by 5.5 go to 2A. 2A. This piece that's left in your trimmer is scrap. And get your paper back in your trimmer, and we're going to do that again. Cut it at 4.25. Turn your paper sideways and cut 2 of them at 5.5. And these other 2 that we're cutting right now that are 4.25 by 5.5 are 2A. So now you have all 4 pieces in card number 2. This piece that's left over is scrap, as well as this big piece is scrap. How about that? Got a nice scrap there. Now let me go back to the zip strip. We got 3 zip strips, so just grab one of them. And we're going to cut, they're already 1/2 inch long, so we're going to cut at 3 inches. Oops, don't mean to slam that down. We're going to cut 4 of them at 3 inches. 4 at 3 inches. So you're not going to have any scrap on this zip strip. Trying to buffer it there so it doesn't slam down. And these go to 1B. 1B, so card number 1. And these other 2 zip strips are scrap. Yay! We got some good zip strip scraps. Say that 5 times, right? All right, so that is it for the pattern paper cutting video. The next video will be cutting our cardstock. So I will see you in the next video.